Historical Commission. Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. I think last time I said 25. I apologize for that. This meeting is being held at the Senior Community Center and via Zoom. Please note this meeting, as with all city meetings, is being recorded. Start with roll call. Andrew Bernhardt.
Here.
Scott Clark.
Here. Here.
Let's see, Glenn Richards, you're on Zoom. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you. Hope you're doing
Okay.
well. Chris Hotel.
Here.
And Chair, that's me. I'm here. So we've.
Wait, you missed looks like Alan. Alan is on.
Oh, sorry. Didn't see that. Alan Marquis.
Here or out here.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, first order of business is 33 Merrill Street, review of the final PR. Is there anyone here to speak on that? So.
There's not.
Okay. There were several notes on what they needed to, I guess, amend with it. It looks from my perusal of it, I'm no lawyer, but it looks like they've covered what was asked. Does anyone have comment, questions about it? At least have a chance to look around, scroll at it, look at it. I think that if there's no further discussion, I think we just need a motion to approve the finalized PR for 33 Merritt Street.
Yeah, pardon me, Biff. So there's no one here at this meeting to talk, from either like Lisa Mead's office or anything like that to address this.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, if no one else has any comment, I'll be happy to make a motion that we approve the updated, revised version of the preservation restriction with the updates from the Mass Historical Commission.
Okay. Do we have a motion from Glenn? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, so the motion is to approve the revised PR agreement for 33 Merrill Street as submitted and submit to the MHC for final approval. Andrew
Yes.
and Scott?
Yep.
Alan?
Yes.
Thank you. And Glenn?
Yes.
And Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well, so that motion passes and it's approved. Next up is another review of PR for 38 Forester Street. Do we have applicants here for that?
We don't.
Okay.
No. I suggest we continue that to a
Yeah.
following meeting.
One, since there's no one here, but also since some of the work could possibly conflict with the PR, which is finalized, we'll table that for to our next meeting.
Yeah, and this is Glenn again. Biff, did you notice the in the letter, which is also on our agenda from the Mass Historical Commission, there was some pretty serious discrepancies, but as far as who's the actual owner and this and that. So there's some weird stuff going on there.
Yeah, it looked like there was quite a few amendments they wanted to make to it to begin with, and so it might be a little early for us to be approving work that's subject to that PR, which obviously isn't ready yet.
Yeah, and did I hear correctly? We're going to just continue this?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Right. So, yeah, we're moving on from 38 Forester, so let's next.
Does that need a motion?
It's not a public hearing. I want to work with the owners and the developer who's drafting the PR to find a good date back in the HC.
Great, thank you. All right, so I think we can move on to the Belleville Congregational Church. Are folks here for that?
Yes.
Yes, excellent. You want to step up here and you can sit at the end of the table, wherever's comfortable for you. If you'd like to just give your name and address for the record, and then just let us know what you got. All right,
Marcia Shoemaker, 20 Montclair Road in West Newbury.
Jim Samuelson, 83 High Street in Ipswich.
Thank you. And so you're here looking for CPC recommendation.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you can, if you have a presentation, you can go ahead and, okay.
Great, and, yeah, we'll go back to the beginning, so, yeah, I just want to point out, this is a view of our aerial view of, Belleville Congregational Church right here, 300 High Street, everyone sees it as they drive into town. The large building is the Belleville Meeting House, and then, in the distance, there's a smaller building that we call the Fisk Chapel. So we have a small chapel, we have meeting rooms there, the church office, the stage room, where we're able to put on concerts and other functions. But the livelihood of this church is the meeting house. So, and yeah, I want to introduce our pastor, Pastor Ross Farner.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, we'll go to slide 2, please. Yeah, so the church has, this current church has been in existence since 1867. So we've had church services there, and in 2011, we started a music series, which averages 5 concerts per year. So we invite the community to come in and enjoy various types of music during fall and spring. So that, yeah, on the top right is a view of a concert there where we set up a stage where the altar is. So at the bottom is the Newbury Choral Society. So we have a partnership with Choral Society that has been ongoing for over 30 years. They absolutely love our building, it has great acoustics. They, when the building is open, they have 4 concerts per year. So 2 before Christmas and then 2 in the spring. So unfortunately, and so these are just examples of some of the uses of our building. So we open it to the community for other concerts. Of course, we do weddings and funerals, other church-related events. We've had theatrical performances there. So it's a beautiful space. So the next slide. So here's the reason we're here. So in late 2023, 2 pieces of plaster fell from the ceiling. And so we brought in an expert from Connecticut, which down on the bottom left is the name of the company, John Canning Company from Cheshire, Connecticut. The expert is David Riccio, the owner. He went up in the attic, looked at the state of the plaster. There's a structural problem with the plaster. Dating this plaster is the original plaster dating back to 1867. So what's shown here is they're called plaster keys. So I learned this from David. So when they installed the ceiling, there's nothing really, the only thing holding up the plaster is the overlap that goes in over top of the lathe, the lab. So that is what is called a key. So those keys have deteriorated over time. They're very brittle. He went up there, he just, with a little flick of his thumb, he broke off one of the keys. So the issue is the keys are disintegrating, and that allows for weakness of the ceiling and potentially, release of plaster from the ceiling. So that is a problem we need to address. So we shut down access to the building in January of 2024 after receiving a report from John Canning. So currently, we have 2 options on the table to replace the ceiling. So you have ceiling replacement option number 1, which is where we.
I'm sorry, are you saying that you are not having services there at all?
No, we close it to services. So in recent years, we were using Meeting House primarily for December, Christmas and Easter services, and then other special events. But fortunately, we do have a smaller chapel where we can continue to have our services, but the capacity there is only about 100 people. Okay. Thank you. So rather than trying to repair this disintegrating plaster, we feel that our experts have told us that we need to replace the ceiling. So that means demolition, removing the plaster, the blade network, and putting up blue board essentially. So we have 2 quotes currently. One is from 4 separate contractors. That would do the demolition, the blue board, the painting, and, it was the last step. Anyway, the 4 contractors involved. But what we're, really leaning towards is this new option 2 that is not in our application. Because we received a proposal just, on January 13th from a local company, Zampel, who's out of the industrial park here in Newburyport. So their, and also their bid came in, lower. It may not be exactly 372, but it's a very attractive, proposal. So next, slide. So here's just an overview of project summary. I don't need to read every word.
They're just moving the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Once they get them settled, it'll probably be fine.
Yeah, okay. But essentially,
coming down.
the goal is to replace the ceiling and make it as original. So, once we're finished, it's gonna look exactly the way it looks now. Except that it's going to be blue board. And then, of course, with the plastering of the ceilings and so forth. And everything.
Had you looked at, or is it even a possibility to redo like the way it was built like that with that sort of the keys and then?
We probably could find, I mean, we have.
Very expensive, right?
Yeah, we haven't actually gone down that road. I suppose we could find someone that's willing to do the old style method of, well, first we have to remove the plastic without
Yeah.
removing the lathe, or I
Yeah,
guess we can replace the lathe and do the old fashioned method of plastering. But I think, what's more reliable is having blue board, which is more secure. And then in the future, I don't think we're gonna have a problem of the deterioration of the keys. Release of the plaster.
I mean, I assume that you didn't because it's not something that a lot of people are gonna be practicing, but it's just not something.
Well, we did look into it some, and the price was exorbitant.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, like way beyond this.
And yeah, we brought in a lot of experts, so it's not just these 3 options that I'm showing today, so these are 3 ones that we found.
Was,
And
was,
preservation, people we brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and going just over the existing plaster lath with blue board, not an option, I presume.
Right,
As a-
so,
The weight is too heavy.
yeah, a few companies were.
I'm not recommending it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we did hire Andrew Sidford and Associates to do a feasibility study. And engineers hired by Andrew Sidford said that's not a good idea, would add too much weight.
Wait, makes sense.
And yeah, it would be too risky.
Do you have insulation sitting on top of everything?
Currently, there's no insulation. So the goal long term in phase 2 or 3 or 4 would be to add insulation for the project. Okay, so yeah, I think with the interest of time, I'll move ahead to the last slide.
somebody had a question online.
Unless you have, yeah,
Looks
any
like-
questions?
Oh. Yeah, I just had a quick question. It's Glenn. I was just surprised that, well, first of all, took Biff's comment, by the Secretary of Standards, it would have been preferable to replace it with, in-kind lath and plaster and all that, but I understand your constraints on that. But I was just wondering, the people have estimated, they do know that the surface has a lot of curvature to it. So, and I didn't think blue board was flexible like that. Is that something that,
It is, Glenn.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue then, right?
That's not an issue.
Right.
I guess the only question I'd have is there any, anybody tested for asbestos?
Yes, we just, Zampel did that in December. So it's, yeah, asbestos has been ruled out.
Okay.
So we have test results showing that.
So is there a cost in the estimate for, some allowance for structural repairs and et cetera? Is there a dollar amount there for that?
So Zampel is planning to replace all of the lathe network.
Okay,
So, but not, so if you go back, I don't know if you want to go back to the picture of the ceiling. But basically the network of the beams that are used to construct the ceiling structure, they're very heavy duty beams. I don't know the exact dimensions, but I know they're 1 foot on center, 1 foot spaced. center to center, rather than the more standard 16 inches now. So, everyone that's been up there, engineers included, have, felt comfortable with the wood structure.
Mhm.
It's just the plaster.
The beams are huge.
Yeah. Very much.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe we go to.
Yeah.
Without any questions, yeah, we can go to last one. Yeah, so I just wanted to point out, yeah, and the historical commission has worked with us in the past. Everyone has recognized this is a beautiful historic building. It has been registered with the city of Newburyport in 1972. And because of previous projects with this historical commission and the CPC, we already have a preservation restriction agreement in place signed up in 2011. So what we're looking for is help again. So we've had smaller grants, 3 smaller grants in the past. And now we're help to bring the meeting house back to life so that it can serve the congregation, but also more importantly to serve the entire Newburyport community. And maybe to show the last slide of the, bringing it back to life. We have people in the building, enjoying beautiful music, the Pearl Society is eager to come back. This next concert they're doing at the Immaculate Conception, but they do prefer to use our building, hopefully we can do that in the near future.
No offense, but the director says the singers cannot reach the back easily of the Immaculate Conception. Doesn't reach the back,
Oh, you mean the sound?
the sound, the voices.
The uniqueness of the church
Yeah, the
is
curvature.
an upside down boat, the way it
Yeah,
was designed, and it's been called the best acoustics on the North Shore.
Yeah.
And the building holds depending around 600 people, 400 to 600 people depending, with lots of elbow room. They sell out every Newburyport Choral Society show is sold out. If you haven't been.
Like, 2 questions. Has the question been asked if the blue board or will change the acoustics at all?
We've asked
Yeah.
many people
Yes,
that, yes,
okay.
it's very important to the Choral Society and also to Roots, and they basically say no, it will not.
And what is the timeline in a perfect world, or how long is the project
To do
expected?
the project. Well, I believe Zampel has only a 2-month, they say they can do it all in 2 months. And so I was just emailing with them today, they're asking me what is our timeline, and I said, we're still waiting to know if we have all the funding available, but they can do it this summer, so the goal is to do this project this summer. So I don't know what the timing is with the funding, if we're.
Can you remind us, how much are you asking the CPC for?
170,000.
And do you know, because I know it'll most likely come up in the CPC, is there a lower number that would still work for you guys and able to get the work done? If they weren't able to approve the full amount?
It would make it more challenging, so we don't have the entire balance, let's say we were given 170, the church does not have. Quite enough to reach the proposal number, so we still have a little bit of work to do, so it would make it more challenging.
Yeah, I asked that because, again, it often is brought up, and then I know this year, what I see in the budget is, there's a lot more people asking for money than which is available. So not everybody's gonna get everything. That doesn't mean that you guys won't, but just it's good to know if you can still get something done with a portion of it, because sometimes that might help get at least that funding. But thank you for that. Are there any other questions from the board?
This is Glenn again. One quick comment, really. I'm going to abstain from voting to avoid any potential conflict of interest, as I used to be a member of that church. But I would comment one favorable thing about this particular project is that church, even though it is a quote church, it does serve a lot of community functions, as they've discussed. So I think it's true that it is a community asset, not just a religious organization, religious place that is exclusively used for that. That's it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if we have no other comments, I'd take a motion to approve the chair to write a letter of recommendation to the CPC.
Motion to approve and for the chair to write it like.
Chair.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. We'll make this easy. All in favor? Aye. All those not in favor?
Well, the
All
one
right, nice.
abstention.
Okay, thank you.
What's the name of the gentleman online?
Yeah.
That's
Glenn.
Glenn Richards.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
Glenn.
okay.
Hello, Glenn.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you. Yeah.
Have to go to church.
Yeah. Or sing with the choral society with his good tenor voice.
Yeah, I was looking for myself in that picture. I think I've been in one of those, but I didn't see myself in that one.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, let's see. We have the PR for the Newburyport Public Library. Really, that's just, I don't think we need to vote on this. Said we, is there a motion that needs to be made? Oh, yes, to a lot of us haven't seen it. I guess we need to.
Biff, Glenn here. Just one quick question. I seem to remember this was in the works like, at least a year or two ago. Do you have any idea why it's just coming up to be, finished off now?
I don't.
Okay.
You meant it was 2021 or something like that?
Possibly, yeah. Maybe Caitlin, do you have any thoughts on that?
It may have been around that time when, former member Joe Morgan, volunteered to write this.
Right.
But we're coming back to you, I guess, for a confirmatory approval that you all are in agreement with the substance of it, because we would like to work with our, I guess, new council on getting, a new legal description for it, as well as, some deed research done to get the proper references. So we need to get those in place before we can submit that to MHC. So we're prioritizing that now.
Oh, okay. So it's going to go through it sounded like you said it's not quite ready to go to Mass Historical yet.
It's not quite ready. We do still need to get our legal description in place, and council is going to be working on that.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, and, but we have new legal counsel that's coming on board, but maybe this would be day or tomorrow, a day or two away, picking up with them and having them do that, task for us. Try to close that loop as well, with this process for this, the historical
Yeah.
commission here, conservation committee, and also then the city council, so we can expedite the local approval process. But obviously, we first get something that, MHC, is looking at, so we just again want to confirm everything's all good here again, so we can then only need to close the legal counsel. So as soon as they're able to do that, I will check for us.
So we could approve this as a non-finalized draft. Sort of, we want to get out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I defer to you all, if you're comfortable with it, for instance, you can make a motion to approve it, subject to the inclusion of additional, description required by legal counsel or something to that effect, where you can just say, other than descriptors or, proper descriptions required, that sort of thing.
I'm just wondering why we don't, I mean, is it gonna help the situation for us to make that approval, or does it make sense just to wait until it's finalized?
Well, the thing it helps, right, is that at least anyone else who's concerned about it, meaning in this case, like the preservation committee, for instance, they know that this commission is good with one of the substantive pieces or requirements, right? It's sort of interrelationship between different board procedures, and so knowing that this commission, again, with time having passed or members having changed like that, we're just checking the boxes, right? We always try to coordinate with all the boards and feedback from another, for instance, we just want to button stuff up.
Andy and everyone, Glenn here. Given that situation, could my preference would be to just put it off to our very next meeting, because given maybe it'll be updated, but by then. But even not, I know for myself personally, if we're gonna approve it, I'd like to spend a little more time going through exactly what's being preserved and not, and so on. I did take a quick look at it and everything looked, I didn't see any red flags so far, but I don't know, feel a little more comfortable if I had a little more time to spend with it, but
Yeah, I defer to you all on that sort of thing. We just try to line up the procedures and the timelines as early as we can. So I think there's time for the CBC to take that into account, I think. We're just trying to stay ahead of when they're trying to vote, so there's clarity on this.
Exactly, and same situation for the next item on your agenda, the firehouse, preservation section, so same exact, I guess, backstory that Andy just gave for this one as well, so. Perhaps we feel the same
And what,
for this one.
I'm forgetting, I guess, with the
Yeah.
library, they're asking for CPC funding too?
Not this grant round, it's just for our
It's
fire.
a prior, yeah. Oh, it's still a requirement.
Got it.
It's sad, but yeah.
I was just trying to remember all the different
Yep.
things we've been asked for so far, and I didn't remember that one. Right, well, so, I mean, it sounds like, and I mean, from my perspective, I think I looked through both of them, and it's like, I didn't read them at detail, but I looked for inconsistencies or anything like that. I didn't see anything out of bounds, but yeah, I think it's up. Anyone else, in the commission has any opinion about whether we could make a motion to approve them as they currently are? I concur with Glenn on pushing it, giving it a beat so we can look at it a little bit closer and review it. And
I guess I will say one thing that's a little bit different with these two PRs is because they're city-owned buildings. You guys aren't really holding the PRs, it's Museum of Old Newbury. So they're the ones giving, I guess, a final approval. I guess tonight we're just looking for the fact that you all, I guess, approving of like the substance of what's in there. Ultimately, the final approval is going to be from Museum of Old Newbury, and they'll be the one administering these. So when changes come up, it will be Museum of Old Newbury that will be given that approval.
Sorry, Glenn again. Andy or Caitlin, was there, I noticed, I did take another look at it because the one thing that I was interested in particular, first of all, the description is great. Some of the other stuff is, just par for the course, it's fine. But it does specifically say that it's for the exterior of the building. And, number one on page 4. The purpose, is to show the art, blah, 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 of the exterior of the building. And there's some stuff on the interior of the old Tracy Mansion part that's quite worthy of preservation as well. Does anyone know if that's in there? Because
I do not believe so. I believe at the time we were looking at the exterior of the building.
Okay. Well, I defer to, I'd love to hear from my colleagues on the board if anyone has a similar concern or not.
Well, do we have the right to comment about the interior? I thought that wasn't our scope.
Well, in the case of a preservation restriction, and by the way, I see Alan's got his hand up too. Yeah, preservation restriction can go for the interior. It depends on, what the situation specifically is.
I mean, I think this building of any building, if you're gonna try to protect stuff inside, seems more than worthy of that being added. I agree.
I don't see what the harm would be with waiting till the next meeting to give us time just to look through it. That's fine.
All right, well, yeah, I think for at least for 94 State Street, the library, let's push that until get what to our next meeting.
Very good.
I mean, I feel like we're gonna be in the same boat then for the firehouse as well, because I haven't had a chance to look to see like how, what parts are all exactly being protected and when inside and outside, and I would think that this is another building that would be relevant and important. See, the entrance, storefronts, restaurant storefront.
Yeah, it's probably, Glenn, again, it's probably worth looking through it. It has the same language that the other one had about the exterior. But I will say, in the case of the firehouse, I don't think that we.
There's not much there left.
Yeah, the interior's been, rechanged and revamped so many, yeah, it's a whole different repurposed thing now. So I think we are kind of primarily or only interested in the exterior, in my humble opinion, anyway.
Um, well, do we want to, I mean, I'm comfortable with moving this one to the next meeting as well. It's gonna add that much more legal reading we gotta do for our next meeting. But I'm just glancing through this, I'm seeing like a couple of little possible typos and stuff. Um, yeah, unless anyone else has any more comments or wants to put a motion for that, I say we table this one for the next meeting as well.
This, am I able to ask a question? Sorry, we're from the back.
Sure.
Does tabling this affect timing of getting a grant?
No, it at least as
No,
far
it
as
doesn't
I'm
impact the
concerned.
CPC process,
alright,
but it's still, a requirement of CPA funding.
Sure.
But I think
So
we're
it's
gonna be
more-
working on
yeah.
getting a legal description
It
finalized.
shouldn't impede
Yeah.
that process, we're
No.
just trying to close the loop, because others will certainly ask in the process, or where does that stand, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a little one of those.
Yeah.
And I sit on that commission as well, so I can let them know where we're at with them. If we come to that before this gets approved.
Yeah, that's great. We just have some urgency to
Oh,
start
yeah.
projects.
Oh, yeah, oh, where, yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, one quick question before, I'll be happy to make a motion, Biff, but one real quick question. I think it's for Andy or Caitlin. Is the Museum of Old Newbury, they're going to be the grantee. So are they on board with this? They know all about it and they're cool and all that?
Yes, yep, they've reviewed both of these grant agreements. And then the firehouse one recently, and the library one further back. So they may revisit the library, but the firehouse, I think they just recently had their board of directors take a look at this one and approve it.
Okay, thanks. In that case, if I'll be happy to make a motion that we take this up again at our very next meeting. Someone can tell me the date, February something.
If we, I don't know, that we need a motion.
No,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep it
Oh,
on
we
the
don't?
agenda.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, but thank you. All right, well, we can move on to our correspondence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, it was uneventful for you.
Oh, no, that's okay. We just want to make sure we can address any
Yeah.
questions.
All right, let's see, Highlands. So I hope you guys at least looked through those couple of letters that were sent. This one, I think we kind of already addressed because I proposed the letter that we approved, I think in our last meeting. Telling them kind of what, beyond what our decisions were about, concerns about the green barrier or whatever that they brought up in the meeting. So hopefully those, they feel a little bit better about that. Not sure what will happen with it, but, and regarding the old jail, oh, that's fine. The preservation restriction that needs a lot of work. And, I mean, that's kind of the summation of it, but also we need to get this thing done is kind of.
Amen to
kind of
that.
Something. Anyone else have any comment on?
Yeah, Biff, this is Glenn. As you know, I was involved. I was a very new chairman when this first came up. I believe it was 2019. I just recently found out some information about the origins of this that even I had been unaware of, despite all the time and work that I spent on it. If unless you feel you have it well in hand, I totally agree that we need to get this damn thing done. Pardon the language. if I have your permission to just do a little more information gathering, and then I'll be happy to get back to you on what I've been able to find to see if we can't get this done. For example, one thing that's been suggested is that we really go back to the original preservation restriction that was submitted to the ZBA, and their decision was based on, and it basically take the what's usable in that and basically just put it into the format that MHC is wanting, and not this what crazy, well, not crazy, but very elaborate thing that Chuck Griffin wanted to do, and see if we can't just simplify the whole thing, and just like as you say, get it done. It
Yeah,
might be
see,
easier said. Yeah, go ahead.
I say it seems like one of the issues was that there's things that are exempt that we normally would not have exempted, something like that, like there's
Yeah, and
five dormer that make it.
yeah, and one of the things that's making it so bulky is that typically a preservation restriction, as the name implies, it describes the property and it says what's going to be protected and or preserved, whatever, under what's covered by the restriction, and anything else, isn't. Whereas does this very elaborate listing of, down to very detailed descriptions of what is or isn't covered. I understand why. He explained why he wants to do that. He's concerned about future owners. He's also nervous about having to come back to the commission to approve things. But, I think his fears are exaggerated personally, at least in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a comment. Mass Historical has already submitted like what revisions need to get made, right?
Right.
So it kind of seems like the ball's in their court, like they're the ones that actually need to make the revisions.
Yes.
Presented.
Yeah, that's correct. And I sent an email to the author of that email, asking just to clarify if all those changes are made, is the Mass Historical okay with it? I haven't heard back yet, but yeah, you're correct about that. It's many pages of changes. But I did also hear a rumor that Mr. Griffin wasn't necessarily on board with some of those changes. But he's got it. Again, veering off into my personal opinion here, he's got to understand that he's got to get this thing done. He's ready. Really, how should I put it? Overstayed his welcome, so to speak, as far as delaying, getting this thing done.
I just don't see how we need to be pushing it along when it's in their court. And they need to make the changes for Mass Historic. It's not our decision, that's theirs.
Yeah, I agree. It is, the ball is in their court. The only thing we don't have to actually do the work or anything like that, but it's in the city's interest, in my opinion, to not just wait for them to do something, but kind of ride them a little bit to get it done. And by the way, I see an attendee, Stephanie Nikitish. She's the now the new counselor for Ward 2, and this is in Ward 2. So Stephanie, maybe we'll talk to you about your thoughts on this at some point.
All right, well, any other comment?
No, I'm just listening to them.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Alan?
Sorry, I just didn't take my hand down. I'm all set.
Put your hand down.
I actually have one comment to the commissioners. This letter from the Preservation Trust, you guys read it?
I'm sure, but I remember him.
This is a recent one. It's very recent. This is only a few weeks old. Get a better understanding of the PR for the jail. You really should read that. And there's a reference to Patricia Peckman's letter that she had written also as well, explaining some of the indifferences, so to speak, of the PR. It's very important that we read these and become very familiar with them, because This is an ongoing thing, but like I said, the ball's in their court, but should really, it's very important. So that's.
Is Ms. Pecknick's testimony, as it's referred to here, is that posted somewhere?
I think that's on the ZBA page. Her correspondence, I think.
A while back, or?
Yeah, I'd like,
It's the letter that they mentioned in their letter.
yeah, it's the one that the Preservation Trust references.
It is online.
Yeah.
It is online.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Chris. Yeah, just for full transparency, Patricia's a neighbor of mine, and I happened to contact her recently on a totally different matter, nothing to do with anything historical commission, and but this came up, and she shared with us some of what I guess is probably, I'm going to find it's the same thing that is in her testimony, but I'll check it out.
Let's see. Comments about 38 floors.
Yeah, this looks bad. And here, this is.
Yeah, another piece.
Impressive.
All right, so I think this we'll deal with when we meet with them next week, I assume.
The Forester Street.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, they've got to finish this version before we can sign up, before we can sign off on it, so.
Right now, they're currently putting together the edits that MHC asked for, to return it back to
Okay.
MHC for their pre-approval letter.
All right,
At that point, you'll hear back, from them on the finalized PR.
well, so hopefully we can vote on that, and then if they want to deal with those windows they want to replace, then we can vote after, vote on that.
Yeah, there was can you hang on a second? There was based on the comments of the Mass Historical Commission, I took a look, and there's if on the city's or the Registry of Deeds and so forth. I mean, there's a whole bunch of sales and exchanges and for 38 Forester Street, and it's really and talk of condominiums. So I really look forward to hearing an explanation of exactly what's going on in there. I thought it was going to be two single family residences on one lot, which is what they were getting the variance for, but I don't know what all this is about condominiums and
That's
all
what
that.
they have. They've built the second house on the rear part of the lot.
So what's are they condos though, or residences, or what? Does anyone know?
Yeah, I don't know how
Like on one.
maybe they're setting it up as both homes as two
It's not
condos.
one condo.
I don't know what they're
Yeah. Okay.
be worth asking when you meet with them.
Yeah. It's only a question of, because for the PR, you've got to have the correct ownership and all that good stuff.
Yep. All right, next up is another letter, this was basically in regards to the letter that we sent, the DCOD special advisory report that we approved in our last meeting. I hope you had a chance to read through this. I did. I spent a lot of time over it. I think the most interesting thing was that more of the history of that, the gentleman I brought up, the cigar manufacturer, she flushed out more of it, and really the discrepancy from their side is that the home itself might not have been the original factory, but for me, it's still historically important home, and it's old. And that guy lived in it. I don't know if it was the factory too.
Yeah.
More about that person now, which I think is good.
Mhm.
And when it comes down to it, advisory for this particular thing is only to look at historical significance of the home and its, position in the block as far as architecturally. And none of the rest of that matters. And I think we still stated that with that letter.
So. Just the fact that he owned this cigar manufacturing, do we do that with other, demolition delays to that degree in terms of looking at ownership? Was there a prominent person or a semi-prominent person?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That's what,
Jelly.
that's part of the, what falls under the historical significance, if there's a person of
Yeah.
significance.
Yeah, technically, it is, Glenn, this was not a demolition delay case. This was a case where we just need to provide what they call a historical report or whatever. So Biff, I read her note, and I don't think it need, it supplies additional things. It's almost, it sounded to me like she was a little annoyed that you had put stuff in that wasn't covered in the meeting. However, that said, I didn't see anything that would cause anything to need to be changed in your report, which I thought was very good.
Yeah, my understanding was she seemed to be implying that there was almost like something slipped in, or there was like discovery.
It seemed like she's trying to say that we while we, in between meetings, like I slipped all this history into it, and that's what we're deciding on. When in reality, I brought that to the attention of everyone, and I wrote it in there because I knew the information, and then we discussed it. That they weren't here. There was nothing, I mean, they wouldn't have had anything to argue because they had to go and do this additional research to look at and it was nothing, for me, it was like, I was offended by it just because I wasn't trying to sneak anything in. I just was concerned that the significance of the home was being brushed off, so I did my due diligence, I did some research. And then wanted to present that to the board the next time, and
So they will be coming before the board at some point.
well, we're done with them, our letter was just.
Oh, that's
the
right,
ZBA,
that's right.
And ZBA is meeting with them, I believe, on Tuesday,
Understood.
to discuss it, but,
So this is just for.
they're telling the ZBA, hey, this is what historical commission did. And, to me, we did nothing out of bounds, and, if anything, we brought more light to the history of the home, and forced them to do a little bit more history digging, which they should be doing. So,
Biff, my advice from my experience is don't take it personally. It's no big deal. You didn't do anything wrong, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. I'm an emotional guy. All right, but yeah, I mean, I think otherwise, like I said, really when it comes down to it is the building significant? Yeah. And its structure important on the block, which I think we all pretty much agree with. But we might not agree with how it's gonna turn out or whatever. But again, in this case, that doesn't matter. So that's all I got to say, unless anyone has any more comments, concerns, allegations.
So which on
I'm really leaning into this one. Approval of minutes. Everyone hopefully read through them. I had no issues with them. Looked good to me. Anyone want to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion to approve the minutes from January 8th, 2026. All in favor, say aye.
I
Um,
I'm abstaining because I did not I did not make that meeting, but I was amazed and astonished with the rapidity with which the minutes were posted, the draft anyway.
Okay.
Used to it.
I'm sorry, did you say don't get used to it or get used to it?
All right,
I had a question,
Sure.
circling back to the advisory letter, I was just curious about, would be out of context, the advisory letter for the commission explained like what the changes that house would actually do to the area.
well,
Said, because we determined it's significant, determined that this is what it is. When with a huge drastic change like this, does it, for example, make it non-contributing anymore because it's so much?
well, and see that, and that's where, you know, when I look, for me, reading over the ordinances, that was two things.
Mhm. That's it.
That's it. For a demolition delay, be different, right? But I think in that case, it's because of that overlay district, whatever.
Yeah, this is Glenn. This is a good point, and Biff, I hope I can find the time to do this, but I want to try to find some alternate wording we can slip in there around that point that where those reports are defined, because certain attorneys will try to really strictly limit it to just the history of the place, when what we really want to do is, yes, cover that, but also talk about what Chris is saying there. You know, okay, what are the effects of the proposed changes and so on. You know, what do we think about those? Because I think that's really appropriate, and in the past, the ZBA and the planning board are usually appreciative of whatever insights we
Right.
can give them on
Well,
that.
yeah, and when I looked at some of your older letters, that's what it included, but again, like, maybe it's that we need to change the ordinance to be more clear on that
Yeah, yeah.
part of our recommendation includes, you know, what the proposed demolition would do.
Yeah.
Because that's not, again, if somebody else sees something differently, that's the way I interpreted, how we're supposed to rule on them, so. I'm sure, I mean, that's, Attorney Mead said I mean, that's what every one of their letters says, like at the end of it, it's like, we're looking for these two things. And they were looking for us, and I think
Right.
that's why this additional letter was because they were looking for us to find it not historically significant. And they were surprised that we did.
Yeah.
I think that's what that's about.
Yeah, they'll always try to limit it to those two if they can, and you know, legally, I suppose, you know, that's fine. But I apparently got away with expanding it a little bit several times, as you saw.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if that's not allowed or just not specifically worded. So maybe that it like, this is stuff I want to really take a look at as far as when we're going to review some of these ordinances to make it more specific. So we know better how to respond to this stuff. Because like I said, I would have liked to have put a lot of the stuff about what it was doing, but I didn't feel like, I felt like I was stepping out of line to do that, so.
It just seems that it goes against a lot of the secondary tier standards. On the
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's like what we were discussing before with like, there was a garage that's put on a lot and it was by right. Because the ordinance doesn't say that the person can't put something that's completely distracts from the historic structure. We had no mechanism against that because the ordinance is set up that way.
No, but with the house itself, like they're planning on doing on it, like.
Right, but I mean, to me, it's the same thing, right? It's like we're looking at a bigger picture kind of thing as opposed to like just the building itself or whatever. Which I feel like we should, but it's not written that way. So,
Because I know like the standards, maybe if they like advise against doing things.
yeah, agree, no, agree.
Which is the guardrails that, you know, go on.
Okay. It's all good discussion, and I need to put together some more, officially put together some of my ordinance ideas and changes. As soon as I find the time. We're supposed to, do our annual election of officers. We're discussing earlier, since there's a few people out, might not be fair. Maybe they don't wanna vote for certain people. I don't know. So if, unless anyone has any objections, we'll table the election, until our next meeting, and hopefully you'll have close to full house. Is that all right, with everybody?
Yeah, I don't have any objection to that, Biff, Glenn here, but I'd like to, the current officers, can they at least state if they are willing to continue in their positions?
Chris?
If anyone wants to jump in, it's good, it's very interesting, but I am willing to be an officer for the next.
Thank you.
Well, I've been on the fence heavily this week, for a lot of reasons, but I mean, I feel like I'm just almost figuring this stuff out.
Oh,
So I like to keep doing it, and I feel like I'm maybe starting to actually kind of get good at it.
yeah, Biff,
Which is a problem, public service things, right?
yeah, trust me, you are have come up to speed faster than I did, certainly. So don't, it is, there's a lot to figure out, but I think you've been doing really well. So if that helps at your decision making at all, and I truly believe that.
Absolutely.
If you guys got my back, then yeah,
We have your back.
I'll consider it again.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. But yeah, we'll do that official vote. Hopefully next time we've got almost everybody here. Any other comments? Otherwise, I take it most people's favorite motion.
Planning director,
Oh,
well, it says updates.
Thank you. I don't think I have anything in particular, other than I have a meeting with, maybe I have a meeting with some counselors in front of, do a session. Just in thinking of something we talked about previously, which is the question of whether or not, it does make sense to have two different historical commissions, and whether or not there's, benefits on multiple fronts, including a more effective, process and everything that. To have one commission who's overseeing these certain things, rather than having, it's very fragmented and problematic, I think, in for the other commission more so. And just so there's several reasons why that makes sense, and we can discuss that, of course, but I'm, talking about that piece of it separate from, and whether or not we combine that with any other, or some different language changes, trying to suss out whether that's something that should be done together or separately, and whether or not there's interest in that sort of thing.
Well, I think a good solution for the Fruit Street Commission is if we end up essentially absorbing those duties, but then we have a person that's specifically appointed as like the representative.
Oh, 100%. I definitely expect it. Sorry, I should clarify. Yeah, if there's support for that sort of thing, you can imagine like a sort of omnibus amendment going to the council where there's two amendments or two sections of the ordinance being amended sort of simultaneously. And there's a reconciliation that we can talk about, we can sort of back in this detail, so the proper membership, number, representation, from the district versus, anything like those lines. So I apologize I didn't mention that, but yeah, I agree. We should do that. And one other thing, as you mentioned, the Brown School, we're expecting at this point, where all things being equal, we're expecting Zeta, a housing partner we're working with, to create affordable housing, to probably be coming before the historical commission, and then sort of shortly thereafter, the planning board sometime the next maybe a month or two out to 3 months out, sort of that time very roughly. We're waiting for a council process for a related zoning amendment, that's not an issue here, but we've already seen the small building addition pieces that they wanted to do. So the zoning that was adopted didn't account for that, unfortunately, so we're just addressing that piece of it. In the zoning, but then the plan is going to come to you and present the preservation restriction for that city building before it's transferred to anyone else in this process. So at the end of the day, you should expect to see another PR for another city building. It has been transferred yet, so another city building. And so there is construction. You probably know there's construction going on over there right now, which is labeled with because of some hazardous materials we had to do some extra work on. But it's all public safety issue, but it's taking more time for work for us. So that's been dragging out as long as we wanted. We had thought down to just the original schoolhouse at this point, sort of ordered up. But if you want to, take Again, at some point, just, look at the street view, or just think about the windows and other features and other building. Expect that there'll be some sort of PR in the scope or anything like that, to be sort of captured in that. And our goal is to be efficient about the review of that. Hopefully it'll all be in good shape coming in, we'll be right forward, I want stuff to be, I don't suspect there's a lot of debate about things. Building and, there, but, then that can be confirmed with the planning board that the PR is in good condition. So that we have the usual thing where, they can proceed with the get their special permit, but it's all contingent upon them getting their HC and the final signatures here and all that kind of stuff, but it's, again, just another view. All right. Thank you.
Hey, Andy, I don't remember anyone coming to this board to get approval to demolish that historic Kmart up on Port.
There was a reference in the 40B application to waivers of chapter 5 of the city's ordinances, which includes the demolition delay.
Oh.
So at any rate, although we didn't really touch on that, I don't think we touched on that very much in the hearing process. There was discussion, I think, very briefly, sort of glossing over anything like that, but yeah, nobody brought up any concerns about the history of the building or desire to keep its, historical integrity or whatever, but they did actually include a reference to that section in case it was, probably was any debate about the date of it anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So anybody who's gonna miss that building, we are expecting it to be removed. I'm not over it.
There's some memories for people in that building, I'm sure.
Yeah, I still remember going
Mark,
Martin for us.
Yeah. All right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 So next meeting
Thank
is
you.
gonna be a long one. We have lots, it looks like.